This was always the case for African American comics. You really had to really create your own fortune. It wasn't so with white comics.
Of course.
White comics, always had a pass. And it still kind of is that way. But for the most part, you have to make your own stuff.
Yeah.
Okay?
Yeah.
And a lot of people they're like, oh, if I get at the punchline, I need to pass. Like, you don't need to pass at the punchline. No, you don't. Because let's say you have some success, they're going to come to you.
That's what I'm saying.
MeMeCherry presents a series of fortunate events. Fortunate events. Fortunate events. A series of fortunate events.
Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back, everybody, to the latest episode of the series of Fortunate Events Podcast, brought to you by who? It's me, MeMeCherry, and our sponsor, Neal Does Art. But today, we're joined by...
Tony Sparks.
We have the Godfather of San Francisco comedy, Tony Sparks. Over 20 years of comedy experience in the comedy community, best known for your mentorship and kind heart, as Seamus likes to say. You ran one of the most famous open mics in San Francisco history, the laundromat turned open mic, the Brainwash. Let's start there. What made you start an open mic, A, at a laundromat, and B, call it the Brainwash?
Oh, well, that was the name of the place.
Oh, that's easy.
Yes, it was called the Brainwash.
It's called branding.
Exactly. And the owner came up with that name because across the street was, I think it was Julie's Supper Club. Okay. And that was a place that Patty Hearst was being held.
Oh, okay.
Right. And so... she was brainwashed, so he decided to use that as the name. Yeah. So, and it was really crazy. Like bathroom codes were usually 5150. He had all kinds of things that fed
this is my
into
level
that.
Of branding.
Yeah, he had all kinds. And he had. I wish I had worn my T-shirt from the brand. I had a bunch of them, but it has a head, the back of someone's head, and it's open. Like a dryer,
hinged.
Yeah,
oh, okay.
like a dryer or a
washer.
and it says Brainwash. It's kind of
cool. What made you start the show there?
Oh, so here's what happened. I was not really accepted when I first moved to the city within the comedy community, and this was about 8 years in or so. And
what year was this?
99.
Wow.
Yeah.
I moved here with my mom in 1995. I was a teenager.
Oh, that is so sweet. I thought you were a teenager right now, sugar boo. What you talking about? All right. No,
a 45-year-old teenager.
There you go. Still young. You're still wonderful. So
this is late 90s.
Right.
So this is early tech boom. San Francisco, still the San Francisco that I remember when I moved here in the 90s.
Okay.
I think I remember this place. Like, I obviously was not old enough to be going there, but I feel like, was it in the Mission?
No, it was south of Market, but you could have gone there.
Okay, because it was a laundromat.
It was a laundromat.
So it was an all-ages show?
It was a laundromat in the back, a cafe in the front, and in the cafe, that's where we did the show. Now, it started out as a film collective.
Okay.
People used to, there was an upstairs in the theater and everything before, but everything moved downstairs. But they would still, I think the weekends would still show films, like Sundays, they would still show films there.
Sure.
The people that would create. But the guy who owned the place came to me, and he wanted to do something for April Fool's Day.
Okay.
And he said, he said to me, listen, I really want to just do you've been really, because I was really successful with open mics.
Sure.
I had a ton of them.
Sure.
I was the monopoly. That's why they call me the Godfather, which the name was really an insult in the beginning.
Well, I need to know that. Why?
Well, because they call me like the Don King of the open mic. I was the monopoly. I was the AT&T of the open mic at the time because I wasn't accepted. So I started my own open mic, and it just blew up. And then I had all of these every night.
Got it.
And then
Back then they didn't want me. Now I'm hot. They all up on me.
oh wow, you said that like, oh my God. All right.
Like I meant it.
Yeah, there you go. So
but it's very that energy.
Yeah, so he asked me to come and do the show and come to do it was initially like a one-off.
Sure.
Excuse me, but it went so well that it got packed.
Sure.
It was so it landed on Thursday, so we just started doing it every Thursday. And every Thursday, it was so many people there. By the end, every Thursday, we had at least 50 comics, and you had a constant barrage of audience coming through. So you weren't just performing for comics, you were performing for an audience.
Yeah.
And they were it was South of Market.
Yeah.
They were a really rough audience.
Yeah.
I remember watching a magician, sleight of hand guy, chew glass.
Ooh.
And somebody in the audience goes, my grandmother can do that. You know what I mean? So, wow. That was crazy.
Wow.
But it got really, like all my rooms at the time, it got really popular really fast. And it was so popular, no one could start a room on Thursday nights. In fact, one of my ex-wives. Yeah,
Hey.
I've had to. Started a room on a Thursday, and she had to abandon it after like 2-3 shows.
Wow.
Because it was just so big and so popular.
Sure.
And it was like
it's like trying to put a show on the same night as Friends.
Right. It was a meeting place. It was okay. Let's say you're new to comedy. Mm-hmm. This was the place to come because you already knew about it, and when you came and if you were really hungry, you were going to get some work right away. All right, and we were going to guide you and show you how to keep working and doing things and stuff like that, and teach you comedy etiquette. You know, how to handle yourself at other places. And so it was a great meeting place.
Let's stay here for a second. Stay in your mind at that time. You say comedy etiquette. What are 2 things that are the same then and now? And what are 2 things that are different then and now in terms of specifically comedy etiquette? Because that's an interesting term. It really it made me go ding.
Oh, okay.
And like when you say comedy, or when you say comedy etiquette, like what does that mean?
Well, the best way I can explain it is, first of all, people don't understand. A lot of people don't understand that stand-up is a business. Mm-hmm. Okay, and in it being a business, you need to be very professional and businesslike. You need to show up early or on time. Okay, you need to be prepared and ready to do what it is you need to do. And here's the thing, if you, okay, how do I explain it to you? Not everyone fits everywhere.
Sure.
Okay, so you and I don't want people to be something other than who they are.
Yes.
So if you know going in you don't fit the criteria, don't do it.
Sure, it's not your pageant to perform in.
Right. There's and it doesn't matter what you do. Okay.
Would knowing your room be like a good way to put that? Like know what room you fit in?
Yeah, but okay, either way, you make you.
Sure.
So it doesn't matter whether someone's hiring you or you've created something for yourself.
Sure.
The important thing is to be true to you, understand you, and understand this is a business and how to sell yourself.
Yes.
So, a lot of times we had all kind of weird people. I've had a lot of really intoxicated people come in, and we, talked them down. There was once a really drunk young man who came in with a gun
Whoa.
and was threatening to get on.
Whoa.
Yeah, he better get on, or he had a gun.
What happened?
There was this young man. We used to call him Goldilocks or Gay Thor.
Not Gay Thor.
He wasn't gay or
Goldilocks.
But no,
he was bald.
But no. He did have blonde curly hair. But he worked before at strip clubs, and he was used to talking people down. And so he was really good at going to
de-escalating.
People. Yeah, he was good at going to people and going like, you really don't want to present yourself this way.
Yeah.
And then there's a lot of people who decide they do comedy because they have some emotional issues. And it was really kind of, people would be, that's so funny. It was really rough for me because I didn't have any training on how to deal with people with emotional issues, So I was constantly learning and constantly, it was a constant growth process.
Sure.
And then for a long time, I was really kind of messed up by the full moon because during the full moon, all these weird people would come in and like challenge me. You're like, oh God. So it was just really weird.
You got on stage when you were 16?
Who told you that? I did. So
what gave you the gumption to call around and get on stage at 16? And what advice would you give that little young man now?
Funny. It's a long story, and I'm gonna try and make it quick. At 14, I started publishing and writing and drawing a comic book.
Okay,
an underground comic book, and then in doing it, people would think it was funny, and I was trying to be more serious. So I thought maybe let's try comedy because at the time I didn't see any comedy other than Jerry Lewis.
Cameras, issues, batteries. 16. You're 14. You're doing your comic book.
Yeah, so I'm doing comic book, and people were laughing. So I decided to try jokes. So for 2 years, I wrote jokes. I then met a young man who was roasting another kid in the lunchroom, and I asked him, did he want to form a comedy team? He didn't know what the hell I was talking about, but we formed a comedy team. And one day he did make a gig. Turns out I was writing for the team and booking us. He couldn't come to this one gig. I went, and it turned out that it was a competition. Well, I won first place. So I said, forget him. Then,
okay, Beyonce.
then I started. I didn't know what to do. So I got. You remember phone books? Okay. So I got a phone book, and I looked up everything that was club. All right. Didn't think, oh, it's nightclub. No, I looked up everything that was club. And
so like Kiwanis Club,
Cat
Club,
Optimist Club, whatever the case may be. And so I started calling these places and said, I called everyone in the city. This was when I was in Arkansas, Little Rock.
Wow.
And I said, look, I'm a comic. I'm in town. They didn't understand what I was saying, but I'd say, oh, I'm a comedian. Oh, okay. And so I called all these places and asked to come and perform. Now I'm 16. They let me come and perform, but they would put me on at like 3 a.m. It was crazy, and so I played all kind of clubs. I played strip clubs. I played regular clubs. Then I started working with these dance groups and these musical groups, and I just started going all over the place, going to different towns and stuff like that.
How'd you end up in San Francisco?
Okay. all right. I had, all right. All of the comedy, okay, there was a comedy trade paper that came out of San Francisco called Comedy USA or Comedy something. At any rate, I heard, and I read books. There was nothing but great things that people said about San Francisco. If you look at everybody's, like everybody had an album at the Purple Onion.
Yes.
Smothers Brothers, Phyllis Diller, Joan River. Richard Pryor, his first album was Purple Onion. So everybody said great things about San Francisco. That wasn't true for me when I got here. At any rate, so I came because I was leaving my first ex-wife, and I was running away from her, and this seemed to be the place to come because my godmom lived here, and one of her sons had passed away, and she was lonely, so I said, I will come and stay with you. I will come and so I left and got here immediately. The first time, as soon as I got here, I went to the Holy City Zoo. I saw this guy. The first person I saw at Holy City Zoo was this guy I beat in a competition years prior. A whole bunch of years prior. More than 10 years prior. And I didn't realize he was still salty about it. But I beat him in this competition in Memphis, Tennessee, which platformed me to New York City. First, I opened up for Jay Leno, and then they sent me to New York City, and I went to New York City for a week, and then I came back to Arkansas, worked for 30 days nonstop at a miniature golf course, saved all that money, moved right back to New York City, and lived there for almost 10 years.
So you opened for Jay Leno.
Yeah. He hated me.
It's so.
He hated me.
It's so. I think so. I have a good friend, Keith Malley, who is the host of Keith and the Girl, a podcast for 20 years now. And I think it's him that has this like running joke that like, oh, Jay Leno never did stand up. There's no like proof that he ever did stand up. There's these stories, but he never did stand up. Nobody has
really?
any. Yeah, like and it's kind of like a bit of like a bit for him. You know what I mean? Because like there's he's never seen any like documentation of Jay Leno doing stand up.
Tons of stuff online now.
So yeah, I mean, but I love that you're here to like testimony that
at the time he was one. For a long time, he was one of the biggest stand-ups on the circuit.
Yeah, that's what I thought.
Yeah,
it's like a running little bit. I'm pretty sure it's Keith that has that.
It was him. It was Seinfeld.
What was it like being in the scene at that time, and how is the scene different now?
There used to be real money in stand-up. I had a buddy.
Development deals and all that, right?
Oh, yeah. I had a buddy who was on Star Search. Yeah, his only other credit was playing a service station worker in a Jay Leno film. But this guy was making about $50,000 a year, and he had no name. He was a nobody. So that let you know. And now there's no real money in stand-up anymore. The way you make money is through merchandise. So that's how it works. So you tour, you have merchandise, and you can't go. And here's the thing. You can't go into it like, I'm going to be an opener. You'll never make money as an opener. You'll never move up. You got to go in like I'm a feature or a headliner right away. Mm-hmm. And you got to sell merch to make money.
Mm-hmm. It's interesting. We had Jonathan Light on recently, and I had never realized or had grasped the concept of comedy being so competitive. But you're now bringing up with your stories people being salty or, you winning things. And it's just, again, it's just interesting. Like comedy being competitive is still somewhat new as a concept to me. It's so interesting when I hear it.
Well, here's it. Okay. I want people to succeed.
Sure.
I want people to do well. It's from what I've seen over the course of doing this for a million years is that there's always room for everyone.
Sure.
Okay. So there's no need to be competitive. And here's the thing. If somebody wants me, they want me.
Mm-hmm.
If they want someone else, they want someone else.
Mm-hmm.
There's no need to block anyone from anything,
Mm-hmm.
because you're not going to ever stop anything.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing is, you make you. You're not going to necessarily be famous by going to someone.
Mm-hmm.
And now we see this more in our digital age, where everyone has where they create their own fortune by doing stuff online. You understand? And then here's the deal, like, but fuck it. I'm sorry.
We'll do it live. Fuck it.
I'm sorry. You can bleep that out. I'm sorry.
No. Fuck cut shit.
This was always the case for African American comics. You really had to really create your own fortune. It wasn't so with white comics.
Of course.
White comics, always had a past, and it still kind of is that way. But for the most part, you have to make your own stuff.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
And a lot of people they're like, oh, if I get at the punchline, I need to pass. Like, you don't need to pass at the punchline. No, you don't. Because let's say you have some success, they're going to come to you.
That's what I'm saying.
All right. I mean, there's this one guy, I forget his name, but he was doing these one-man shows at the Marsh and different theaters, and his wife at the time was writing articles for him or promoting him. Mm-hmm. So he had a lot of ink. He had a lot of press. Mm-hmm. And the punchline came to him, but he was a self-sabotager, and he said something really disparaging about the promoter while he was up there working. And I remember doing a show with him. I used to do this comedy magic show with these magicians and everything. And he was really, he looked down and like kind of technically spit on the audience after the show. And I go like, but dude, what's wrong with you? Just
this is not the gig for you.
Yeah,
if this
everything
is how
he
you're,
did,
yeah.
I'm
going to put you on this. Oh, go ahead.
Oh, no, it's not important.
I'm going to put you on the spot. Our dear friend who's behind the camera, who should probably grab his microphone right about now so he can be ready in case he wants to say something back. If you could give our sweet friend Seamus some advice, because I think he's so talented. But I meant,
no. Anyway,
but I think he's so talented in this medium, and that not everything is for everybody.
I'm glad you said that, because that's very true.
Yeah.
Are you familiar with the actor Jim J. Bullock?
No.
Oh, okay.
I'm not good with names. I might know might know face.
Too Close for Comfort, I think, was the show he was in.
Sure.
He was in the last season of Alf.
Mm-hmm.
Anyway, these are all old things. Anyway, this guy.
Because when you say, like, you don't need to be passed, they'll come to you. That's a little bit of what I've been telling him, is that he gets frustrated that, he's not given, what he thinks should be opportunities that are given to him. And I'm like, look, let's focus on building something here where you can be authentically you and shine and radiate joy. And trust me, they will all come a-knocking.
Okay. I agree. But one of the other things, let me just say this, that I think is important. More than anyone out here, you've created a lane for yourself already. Mm-hmm. I have to be honest with you, and I've told you this before. Every show I've ever done with you, every show, has always been the greatest show ever. It's been like last night was fun. It was fun, but it wasn't your show, buddy. It wasn't you. Okay? So you created energy and it's something that no one else is doing. But yes, but I think what you need to do is, I think you need to be more embracing of yourself. Okay? I think you need to, and I think you need to start taking chances. Okay? Like,
I tell him to be the sweet little weirdo he is.
It's like create on stage.
Yeah.
All right? And more so, like last night, we had too many comics, but still, you should have buffaloed your way into the show. Okay, still, all right. And then I'm always doing something every night. I'm gonna be. I got your back on any room. You come to where I am, I'm gonna try and talk them into putting you on. So I got you.
Why do you look up to him so much? Because you were pitching him heavy to me. I want you to give him his flowers.
Oh, it's simple. It's one of the greatest live performances I've ever seen in my life.
Oh.
We started with the same gentleman, Bone Jesus, about 5-ish years
Oh.
Tony actually taught me something as a host. I don't know if you remember saying this, but you're like, I don't even care if you like the next person coming up. You make them feel like it's Tyson,
Yes.
Ali, every single time.
Yes.
Exactly.
They don't know the difference.
Yeah.
No.
They're not going to know the beef. They're not going to know this guy showed up late. They're not going to know anything. All they're going to know is the words that you leave them with, and they could fuck it up.
Exactly. And you give them a great introduction. If they feel that's on them.
Exactly.
That's on them. And one of the things is that stand up is really zen like. Okay? If you give up wanting to please the audience and make them laugh, and you want to please you, then you win every single time. You win every single time.
Say that louder for the ones in the back. Yes.
So don't you don't try to please anybody, brother. Just do what you do. And remember the rule, the one rule, because I'm teaching a class right now. It's going to be over after tomorrow. But one of the rules is 25 words or less to the funny. If you don't know what your character is yet, because if you look at any comic that's famous, they have a distinctive character. All right? Now,
it's like music. You know within 10 seconds or less if you like a song or not.
Exactly. And and artists become famous when they find their voice. All right? And finding your voice is as simple as a one-word descriptive. Do you understand what I mean by that? Like Louis C.K. is anxiety. Bill Burr is anger. What's that lady, Asuko something, the Japanese comic? Her whole thing is fear. So, but remember, 25 words or less. If it's longer than 2 sentences, I know it seems like a one-liner, but if it's longer than 2 sentences, getting to the punchline, it's too long. And here's the thing. Let's say you have a premise, like you set up a premise. If you don't have 1, 2, 3 or more jokes to follow to bump that premise, then the audience is going to tell you to go to hell. Okay? All right? Because I knew dudes, and I would tell them over and over, and I said, look, because I went through this period. We all go through the same kind of things. He was like doing this long premise, and then he would do one joke. I said, dude, it's not getting anything because it's just one joke. You could have done that in 10 seconds.
Or they fluff around it, something that has nothing to do with where they're going. And so we've been working a lot together just to build shows together. And so I've been working with him to just kind of like, we bring it snappier, bring it concise.
And a lot of people think that everything they say is gold, and they just take the first thing that they write. All right, I got to be honest with you. When I sit down to actually write, because I create on the fly now. When I sit down to actually write, I write a lot of stuff and I throw away a lot of stuff. All right, nothing is gold. Or I see where I can flip the words or change something and make it better. Everything you write, everything you say is not gold. It doesn't always land. The important thing, remember what I'm saying to you here, 25 words or less, and make you happy. Do this for you. Because there have been times lately, a lot, or period, throughout the whole thing, where I'm showing up for a show. I'm tired. I don't want to do this tonight, but I really love what I do. And I think that kind of shows through when because you said that. You said such great things about me, brother. I really appreciate that. But I really love what I do. And I get a lot of flack from the older people, the people that are my age and older, who are established in the community, because they say, "Oh, you're lazy because you get up there and you make stuff up. You're lazy."
Is somebody gonna call Jay-Z lazy because he goes in the booth and drops a track off the top of his head? I don't think so.
But that's what they tell me.
Well, they better go say that to Jay-Z.
And they don't. And I get pushed and bumped out of a lot of stuff because of it.
So unfortunate. Before we take our commercial break, I want to pitch you my next live show idea just to see if you giggle or not. I thought it was a very unique idea. I did a little bit of research, and it sounds like Andy Sandberg did this before me, but then that tells me I have a proven hypothesis that I could make it a theory. So my good friend Keith Malley that I mentioned earlier, he's asked me before if I would ever do a roast, because both in comedy and in drag, because I'm involved in drag a lot, there's roasts, right? And I say, no, I don't have thick enough skin. And a little while ago, I started joking around and playing with this idea of like, well, what if we say nice things to each other in a mean way instead of a roast? And I'm calling it a bake instead of a roast. Long story short, we're putting together a live show August 7th at Oasis in San Francisco. Me and Seamus are part of the cast, a full cast to be released over time. We're going to tease it out. But we're basically going to bring comedy and drag together. Comedians will do a 3-minute set. Drag person will do a number. I'll keep them on stage to play a silly game like we're going to do in a bit. And then wash and repeat that a couple of times, and then we'll have the bake of MeMeCherry, where everybody tells me how amazing I am in a mean way.
That sounds fun to me.
Okay.
I don't know if I've ever heard that done before, but it sounds fun. But I will say this: it seems more the style seems more you. It may not be everyone else's style.
Oh, of course.
But that seems your style, which, yeah.
And I think it's a fun challenge. My drag mom had a gig last night, and so I went to go support. And we were talking over the idea of the show and how to prep for it. So I'm going to actually prepare like a little questionnaire and give it to the cast. And so then they're all going to give you basically information about themselves. And so everybody will get like a dossier. Oh yeah, me and Mama were talking about that last night. So everybody's going to get a dossier on each other so that we can all properly prep on each other for the bake. But yeah, I've been working on my material.
There you go. And have you, because it's technically a backhanded compliment.
Yes.
Yes. Have you kind of researched that?
Well, to me, you say backhanded compliment, I say uplift and joy. And it's just, to me, ultimately, we live in very dark times right now. And I just want us to uplift each other. But I just, that kind of sounds boring. So I figured if we do it in a mean way, that might sell tickets.
Well, all right. Or, I mean, okay. I also just like being very silly. I would love to see it.
Well, we will make sure to get you a ticket, Tony Sparks.
I would love to see it.
August 7th at Oasis. Save the date.
All right.
I am going to run and get the snurse for our Patreon segment, but we are not done with the main show yet. We're going to go on a commercial break. While I'm gone, Seamus is going to record his Celebrity Encounters Patreon exclusive segment with Tony Sparks while I run back to the apartment really quick and grab our snurse. So stick around or come back or just stay right there. Don't go anywhere. Bye. Hi. Hola. Bonjour. It's MeMeCherry, your friendly neighborhood podcaster. And I'm here to tell you a little bit about the sponsor of our show, Neal Does Art. Thank you, Neal Does Art, for sponsoring SOFE Pod and MeMeCherry Productions. At nealdosart.com, you're going to find a full range of Eastern Sierra photography-inspired art. It's accessible art for all. And if you're anything like me and you like stickers, we love stickers around here. You can get some cute stickers like this beautiful bird she looks like she's got something to tell you. She's looking at you like, you're 5 minutes late and you were supposed to be here 30 minutes ago. That's what she's saying. Then we have this cute little deer who's kind of like, hey, Beach, we saw you from across the bar. What's your name? Right? She's kind of giving, we saw you from across the bar. And then this little squirrel moment that's very much giving you, hey, Beach. Anyhow, thank you, Neal Does Art, for sponsoring the show. Check them out, nealdoesart.com. Use promo code CHERRY for 10% off. Thank you. We are back with the Godfather of San Francisco comedy, Tony Sparks.
Thank you.
Thank you for being so generous with your time. You just were on Celebrity Encounters with Seamus, so check it out on Patreon, available for all levels of the Patreon. We've been working very hard over here trying to make this a tiny little business, so every little bit helps.
It's beautiful.
Yes. Are you ready to play a cute little game?
I guess so.
That's better than me with my trainer. My trainer will be like, you ready for this exercise? I'm like, no. She's like, yes, you are. I'm going to take it easy on you. I won't be too hard. We're going to play a little bit of comedy trivia, if that's okay with you.
Okay.
What was Rodney Dangerfield's signature line?
I get no respect.
Ding, ding, ding. We will accept it.
Yeah.
I don't get no respect is what I have in my answer here. True or false? Roseanne Barr tried running for president in 2012.
True.
You're very correct.
Yeah.
Yes. So interesting, this little country of ours. What legendary stand-up comedian was known as the Queen of Comedy? You can either pick it off the air, or I also have multiple choices you can pick from. Queen of
The Queen of Comedy. I'd really like to hear the multiple choices.
I will give you some choices. Okay. We have an option A, Joan Rivers. Oh. We have option B, Lucille Ball. We have option C, Carol Burnett.
Oh, wow.
Queen of Comedy.
I immediately thought Joan Rivers.
Okay.
But when you mentioned these other two people,
I say go with your gut.
Okay, Joan Rivers.
You're correct. True or false?
Wow, that's what I was going to say.
You had it right.
Oh, wow.
Trust your gut. True or falsifico? Robin Williams, may he rest in peace, attended the prestigious Juilliard School.
Yes.
Yes, he did.
Oh, he did.
Yeah. Was that a yes?
Yes, he did, for sure.
1973 to 1974, our
Yes.
dear Robin Williams attended the prestigious Juilliard. And last but not least, this comedian received an honorary Oscar at the 2013 Governor's Awards.
Ooh.
I can give you choices to pick from. 2013 honorary Oscar at the 2013 Governor's Awards. Would you like your choices?
Yeah, I need choices for this one.
Your first choice, Billy Crystal. Your
Okay.
second choice, Steve Martin. Your third choice, Jim Carrey.
Oh. Well, if those are the choices, because I thought it was Jamie Foxx. If those are the choices, it's going to have to be Steve Martin.
Good job.
Yeah.
Ding, 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 ding. You
Yeah,
got him all right.
Thank you. Yay, me.
Yes, good job.
Yay, me.
So here at Series of Fortunate Events, I mean, I think you can actually tell by the name. I built it in so long ago, I didn't even realize it. We love to talk about manifesting, and I like to tell Seamus, we don't talk about what we're not, we talk about what we are.
Yeah.
Or what we want to be.
Exactly.
So what do
that's
we
good.
want to be, as in you? What are we manifesting as in you for 2025?
Okay. I don't like sharing these things.
Oh, then you can keep it to yourself.
No. But I'm going to be open and share. So I may, next time you see me, I may be a little bit thinner.
Ooh.
So I'm going to. You are just right. You are yummy. Oh my Lord,
I lost 55 pounds in the last year.
You have a great spirit.
Mr. Sparks.
You have a great spirit and a good look.
Is
You
that,
do.
Is that a highlighter in your pocket, or are you just happy to see me?
Oh, I wish it was that noticeable. Anyway, no, but that's
We're getting our fitness together. Is what I'm
that's
hearing?
one of the things you'll see. You'll notice I'll lose some weight. One of the things that I may do, I don't know if I'm for certain going to do it. But if I do it, I'm going to try and do it along with my son, who's a very accomplished voice actor. I may start a online sitcom.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. So
That's so fun.
yeah, we'll see. I don't know. I don't know if I am going to do it,
Sure.
but that's one of my ideas.
I like this idea.
Oh, you were sweet. Thank you.
Yeah, I hope it happens.
Thank you. It's something. Okay. In the genre of sitcom that I'm speaking of, I've never seen it work, so it may not work.
Oh.
Yeah.
We love a challenge.
Yeah, it may not work, but
That's my toxic trait.
I'm only going to do a minute and a half segments.
Yeah.
So
Which is very now. Like that's very on trend now. That's very like the TikTok generation, kind of like 1 minute
Exactly.
at a time. Yeah, I've been having fun really getting into editing clips of the podcast, because for so long it was long format, but I've now really enjoyed the challenge of like, again, trying to make it concise, trying to make it, how do we find the funny? How do we find the beat in it? And I've been having a lot of fun with it. Well, I hope that we see your internet sitcom.
I kind of hope so too.
And if I can help in any way, please let me know.
Oh, you were sweet.
Oh,
thank
thank
you.
you.
I'd love you to be part of it.
Yay!
Oh my goodness.
I believe in the power of speaking things into existence. So that's why I make people come on my show and tell me what they're dreaming, because it also takes a village and it takes a community, and you just never know who's listening that might also be like, oh, I want to also help. You know what I mean?
There you go. That'd be great.
Yeah.
That'd be great.
Yeah, I'm trying to manifest lots of things. I'm trying to manifest a sold out MeMeCherry's Big Bake, August 7th, Oasis in San Francisco. You're going to be so happy to hear this for the next few months, because you're going to hear
my
it up
God.
until August 6th.
That is beautiful. Well, if you're starting to advertise now, there's no way it can't be a sold out event.
Thank you.
Also, that the space that you've chosen
Yeah,
is
iconic.
a really great
I know, I'm
space.
so honored.
I've done several shows there,
Oh.
and all of them have been so amazing.
Yeah, I'm so excited. I definitely wanted to partner. The last live show that we did, not last year, but the year before, we did it at Fluid 510, and it was great. It was very DIY. I learned a lot. It was very friends and family. I basically threw myself a very expensive birthday party, but I learned a lot of lessons, and but it also traumatized me a little bit. And so it took me up until a couple months ago to finally put the footage out from that show. And it actually is doing pretty well online. And so it made me be like, oh, I actually don't suck. So let me just lean into my authenticity and just be my silly, goofy self that likes to bake and wants to say nice things in a mean way.
There you go. That's beautiful.
Yes, before we go, Mount Rushmore. We scrape off those silly old white men. We put them with your comedy idols. Who's on your Mount Rushmore of comedy?
Wow. Oh, that's really not good. All right, but I'm gonna go ahead.
No
It's
bueno.
not. I'm gonna tell you.
Okay.
It's not gonna. Okay. So it's 4 then. It'd be 4.
It would be 4. I mean, we're rebuilding around here. We can have 5. We can have 3.
No, 4 is good. 4 is good. I'm just thinking. I'm just trying to. Okay, there we go. I got it.
You got it. I believe in you.
Okay. Of course,
Of course.
my age group and the person who really kind of changed comedy for a lot of people, Richard Pryor.
Okay.
Okay. Okay. Then there would be Don Rickles.
Okay.
Okay. Then there would be Shirley Hemphill.
Oh.
Shirley Hemphill from What's Happening, the TV show.
Okay.
Her own show, One in a Million, What's Happening Now, which I auditioned for but never got cast. Let me see.
And who's our last face on
Our
this
last
comedy
face
Rushmore? I know it's the hard one to pick.
Is another person who's passed on. She passed on in 2007. A lot of people don't know about her. Her name is Pudgy.
Oh.
Pudgy.
Oh.
She did crowd work and she sang.
Oh.
And she encouraged the crowd to sing with her.
Oh.
And she did a lot of shows that involved burlesque performers.
Oh.
Or, burlesque performers.
Yeah.
But she was really amazing. She was really a great on the fly person.
I'm actually very impressed with your choices.
Oh, you were sweet.
Not what I was expecting. I mean, prior I was not that I was expecting. Doesn't surprise me. I was not expecting any. I kept expecting you to say Carlin for some reason, so I was surprised that you didn't say it. But then again, your Rushmore is your Rushmore. I don't know you like that. I just for some reason I kept thinking I was going to hear you say Carlin. But I feel like that's just like an expected answer, and so I really like that you went with the unexpected.
Oh yeah. I got to be honest with you. I love all of these people for various reasons.
Sure.
So,
have you ever used comedy to get out of trouble? And it sounds like maybe you also used it along the way to maybe get a lady or two.
oddly enough, if I got a lady from stand-up, that was on them.
Oh.
All right.
That wasn't their fault.
Yeah, it wasn't me. I didn't go in telling jokes thinking I was gonna get some.
And did you ever use it to get out of trouble?
No.
No.
No. I've actually, one of the things that has kind of helped me is, you talk about manifestation and
Sure.
a positive attitude.
Sure.
Those are the things that have gotten me out of trouble.
Yeah.
A lot of times when people one of the things that they never tell you, let's say you are being heckled.
Okay.
Instead of attacking back,
Sure.
take what the person says and build on it, expound on it. Yeah, I suck.
That's
I'm
talent.
terrible. Now, but that's the way to do it. This one girl goes to me, but sometimes you can still jab them. This woman goes, "Oh, you're not funny. My mom is funnier than you." And I go, "Yeah, she's really funny, and you're a best joke." You know what I mean? And it just
That's talent.
So the bottom line is this: is that I've used it's been more agreeing with people and working with people to get out of stuff.
Great. As we wrap up the main show, you're going to stick around for one more little segment for the Patreon. Stick around. Go visit patreon.com/MeMeCherry Productions to check out what's in my snurse. We're going to play some extra silly and fun questions. But is there anything that you would like to leave my audience with as we say goodbye?
Okay. If you are a person who's deciding to do stand-up, please read a book, study,
Yes.
look at how to do it, and then do what you want to do. But first, please study. Please don't think, "Oh, I've seen somebody do it, I can do it." Because chances are you're wrong.
You got to learn the fundamentals before you try to break them.
Exactly. And I got to tell you, people look at people doing stand-up and they think it's just getting up and talking.
Mm-hmm.
And there's a lot more to it.
Oh, yeah.
There's a whole lot more to it.
Oh, yeah.
So please study, read a book on how to create jokes, how to perform, not a biography. but how to create jokes and how to perform.
Yeah. The
All
craft.
right? Yeah, like Judy Carter's book, Stand Up Comedy, the book. Like, I'm trying to think of who's somebody else. Jean Perrette has a lot of books. You can't find any more Robert Orban books anymore because they're too old. But Judy Carter's book, Stand Up Comedy, the book. Not the Comedy Bible, but Stand Up Comedy, the book.
The book.
Okay? So please. Oh, and Step by Step to Stand-Up Comedy by Greg Dean, which has a really great description on how to create a joke. Oh, it's great. So that's important.
You're a very generous soul.
Oh, thank you.
You're very kind. SOFEpod.com. Check it out. Go to Apple Podcasts, leave a review. Go to YouTube, subscribe. We're trying to hit 1,000 subscribers by the end of the year. And you know how you can help us do that is by hitting subscribe. Go to your friend's house, open up their computer. It's okay. It's not illegal. They're going to thank you later. Hit subscribe. I'm rushing now. I'm getting extra Puerto Rican because I can feel Seamus telling me that the camera's about to cut off in a second. So bye.
MeMeCherry presents a series of fortunate events. Fortunate events.